Dr. Khalid Malik, the founder, has a PhD in applied linguistics to Seoul. He taught at many foreign universities with 25 research papers, 6 books on linguistics, and has a postdoc fellowship abroad. Join Applied Linguistics Group at youtube.com/@1966 Pakistani or use a QR code to join our Facebook group at https://www.facebook.com/groups/329136464149083. How to avoid plagiarism while using ChatGPT and Ai tools. ChatGPT is the most advanced language model developed by OpenAI. It's a powerful tool that generates human-like text responses based on given prompts. Trained on a vast amount of data, it can understand and engage in conversations, provide information, and assist with various tasks. This chatbot AI tool utilizes deep learning and neural networks, specifically the transformer model architecture, to process and generate coherent and contextually relevant responses. It finds applications in chatbots, language translation, content creation, and more. AI writing tools work in a similar way using different writing models, mostly from OpenAI. The main difference is that these tools are often trained by their owners to handle more advanced information. What is plagiarism? Plagiarism is the use of someone else's ideas or language without acknowledging that we did not create them. This definition applies to ideas, words and unusual structures regardless of where we find them, in a book, on a web page, in an email. Whenever we include another person's information or wording in a document, we must acknowledge the source and include a citation that will tell your readers where we obtained it, otherwise we are guilty of plagiarism. Plagiarism is sometimes seen as intellectual theft. Plagiarism in content refers to the act of using someone else's work without obtaining proper permission or acknowledging their contribution. It involves various forms of intellectual theft, such as directly copying someone's words, sentences, or paragraphs and presenting them as your own. This type of plagiarism is known as word-for-word plagiarism. Another form of plagiarism is paraphrasing without giving credit. Paraphrasing involves rewriting someone else's work using your own words. However, if you don't acknowledge the original source and claim the ideas or information as your own, it still constitutes plagiarism. It is important to provide proper citation or attribution to the original author to avoid this type of plagiarism. The best way to avoid plagiarism is to understand what it is. Then we must avoid committing either accidental or intentional plagiarism. Paraphrase. To paraphrase is to put the ideas in a passage into our own words, usually following the order of the ideas in the original. All major ideas are included. A paraphrase is often shorter than the original. A paraphrase that defines terms or concepts might actually be longer. Any paraphrase requires the same kind of citation as an exact quotation. Only 3 good reasons for paraphrasing exist. Translating technical material into simpler language for a lay audience. Paraphrasing because a professor has explicitly requested that we do so. Translating a poem into simpler language so that we can understand where the ambiguities lie, and this type of paraphrase rarely makes it into our papers. Summary. A summary puts the major idea, of a passage into our own words and significantly shortens it. Once again, we must attribute the ideas to the original source. Consequences of plagiarizing. Plagiarism in the academic world can lead to everything from failure for the course to expulsion from the college or university. Plagiarism in the professional world can lead, at the very least, to profound embarrassment and loss of reputation and, often, to loss of employment. Famous cases of plagiarism include the historian Stephen Ambrose. Accusations about 6 of his books have been made, most famously about The Wild Blue, and historian Doris Kearns Goodwin, who ended up asking the publisher to destroy all unsold copies of the Fitzgeralds and the Kennedys. Such plagiarism may be accidental, but its consequences are the same as for intentional plagiarism. Avoid plagiarizing by citing sources. 5 basic rules exist regarding the use of information in professional and in academic writing. If we use the language of a source, we must quote it exactly, enclose it in quotation marks, and cite the source. If we use ideas or information that are not common knowledge, we must cite the source. If we didn't invent it, we cite the source. Unless our professor explicitly tells us to paraphrase, we don't paraphrase. When in doubt, we cite the source. Doing so only enhances our readers' sense of your honesty. Don't procrastinate with your research and assignments. Good research takes time. Procrastinating makes it likely you'll run out of time or be unduly pressured to finish. This sort of pressure can often lead to sloppy research habits and bad decisions. Plan your research well in advance, and seek help when needed from your professor, from librarians and other campus support staff. Commit to doing your own work. If you don't understand an assignment, talk with your professor. Don't take the easy way out by asking your roommate or friends for copies of old assignments. A different aspect of this is group work. Group projects are very popular in some classes on campus, but not all. Make sure you clearly understand when your professor says it's okay to work with others on assignments and submit group work on assignments, versus when assignments and papers need to represent your own work. Be 100% scrupulous in your note-taking. As you prepare your paper or research, and as you begin drafting your paper. One good practice is to clearly label in your notes your own ideas, write me in parentheses, and ideas and words from others, write Smith, 2005 or something to indicate author, source date. Keep good records of the sources you consult, and the ideas you take from them. If you're writing a paper, you'll need this information for your bibliographies or references cited list anyway, so you'll benefit from good organization from the beginning. Cite your sources scrupulously. Always cite other people's work, words, ideas and phrases that you use directly or indirectly in your paper. Regardless of whether you found the information in a book, article, or website, and whether it's text, a graphic, an illustration, chart or table, you need to cite it. When you use words or phrases from other sources, these need to be in quotes. Current style manuals are available at most reference desks and online. They may also give further advice on avoiding plagiarism. Reasons to avoid intentional plagiarism. People may be tempted to plagiarize for several reasons, for example, lacking time to think about and write the paper, wanting to get a better grade, feeling a course is irrelevant to their career plans and hence not worth their time or effort, insecurity about our writing ability, struggles with a second language. But there are better reasons for not plagiarizing. If we have writing problems, identifying them early gives us plenty of opportunity to improve our skills, for example, working closely with the lecturers in the Writing and Communication Center. We will engage with the ideas and thus deepen our critical thinking and writing skills. We will add authority to what you write by citing sources. We will learn to question all ideas. Using others' ideas prevents us from questioning or judging ideas, which can lead to a willingness to accept ideas unthinkingly, a profoundly dangerous thing to do in any profession or society. Without struggling to understand, interpret, and argue with ideas, our own ideas never develop fully, and we will tend to see issues superficially, again, a profoundly dangerous thing in any profession and in any society. We will learn to voice our own ideas. We will avoid the penalties of plagiarism if we get caught. Advantages to citing sources. An obvious illustration of this standing on others' shoulders occurs in technical and scientific writing. Procedures and methods sections of technical and scientific articles and laboratory reports provide readers with information sufficient to replicate both the method and data described in the document. That information is provided so that our results can be verified but so that others might refine our methods or build upon them to make even more discoveries. For documents in any field, Quotations provide evidence for our assertions and ideas for us to argue against. Citations show our willingness to have our interpretations of those other works verified. For longer papers in other fields, literature reviews provide the intellectual context for understanding our contribution to that ongoing conversation about ideas. Our ethos, your credibility, is profoundly enhanced when we cite your sources. Citing sources proves that we are well informed about the topic and that our work can be trusted to be accurate. Citing sources also proves that we are honest. It is essential that you know when and how to include direct quotations, paraphrases, in-text citations and a reference list in your assignments. Direct quotes. Direct quotes should only be used occasionally in your writing. They are used when the author expresses the idea in an original way or gives a specific definition of a key term. You always need to use quotation marks when quoting, and where possible, you should also include the page number in your citation. For example, Smith, 2019, p.187, defines globalization as a process of global interconnectedness through trade, migration and cultural exchange. In-text citations. An in-text citation is included in the body of your text to show the reader which information has come from another source. There are two main ways to cite a source, but in both cases you only need the surname, S, of the author, S, and the year of publication, plus the page number if it is a quotation. Munoz Luna, 2015, suggests that a key part of the assignment writing process is planning what to write and how to structure it appropriately. Or, a key part of the assignment writing process is planning what to write and how to structure it appropriately. Munoz Luna, 2015. How much plagiarism can be expected with ChatGPT-Ai? It's hard to tell how much plagiarism you'll find in chat's generated content. However, as previously mentioned, the language model is developed using text input, and its responses are generated based on previous data. Therefore, it is possible for instances of plagiarism to occur in the output at any time. But in most cases, the plagiarism percentage won't cross more than 20%, talking from personal experience. Also, it could vary based on the topic. Moreover, the percentage of plagiarism might depend on the prompts. If you can provide a unique prompt, there is a good chance that the content will be unique. Strategies to avoid plagiarism with ChatGPT and Ai tools. Plagiarism is a serious offense that can have severe consequences in academia, professional settings, and even in personal communications. When using ChatGPT and other Ai tools, it's important to be mindful of potential plagiarism risks and take proactive measures to avoid them. Here are some strategies to help you steer clear of plagiarism while utilizing ChatGPT and Ai tools. How to avoid plagiarism. To avoid plagiarism in an article, it is crucial to use quotation marks when incorporating direct quotes and paraphrase the content instead of copying it word for word. Records of consulted sources need to be kept as well as the use of a plagiarism checker before submission. It is important to ensure that all facts are preserved while rephrasing phrases or changing their order to avoid any instances of plagiarism in the document. In order to avoid plagiarism, it's important to grasp the principles of citing sources correctly and create accurate bibliographies. Quotation marks should be utilized wherever required, while the rewriting of must be done properly in order not to commit plagiarism. Credit should always be given where due along with dedicating adequate time for both writing and review work. How can plagiarism be avoided in writing the review of literature? To avoid committing plagiarism while writing a formal article or review, it is crucial to precisely reference all sources consulted during research and to remain vigilant of any subconscious rewriting of direct quotations. Take advantage of citation management programs that can aid with keeping track of sources in an exact manner. How not to plagiarize. In order to steer clear of plagiarism, it is important to keep a record of your sources and accurately cite them. Running the material through a plagiarism detector before you submit will help guarantee that there is no unintentional plagiarism going on. Adopting these measures ensures that all work remains unique and bona fide. Plagiarism can range from copying someone else's words directly to referencing or paraphrasing someone's work, ideas, or analysis without giving them credit. Plagiarism can even be unintentional if you reference someone's work but forget to credit them. The best way to avoid plagiarism is to plan your writing carefully, make sure you understand your source materials, and acknowledge where your own ideas have come from. Follow citation style rules throughout your text and be vigilant about citing all of your sources. Understand the basics of plagiarism. First, educate yourself about what includes plagiarism. For instance, plagiarism involves presenting someone else's work, ideas, or words as your own without giving proper credit. Look for different forms of plagiarism, including direct copying, paraphrasing without attribution, and others. A better understanding of plagiarism will help you to stay safe while writing and generating content. Imagine how upset you would be if someone uses the technique you had developed after years of patient work and publishes a paper based on the technique mentioning neither your name nor the original paper you wrote that describes the technique. That somebody is a thief in that the author used your ideas without acknowledgement. Plagiarism applies the same logic not only to ideas but to the choice and arrangement of words or even to figures and tables, which are often part of many research papers. Under intense pressure to publish, some academics and researchers resort to plagiarism. They put together a paper with or without any research to back it up by searching for a few papers on a given topic and copying entire paragraphs from them and pasting them into a new document, which eventually becomes a paper they submit to a different journal, different from any of the journals that had published the papers on which the new paper is based. This is an extreme case, but plagiarism happens even more frequently on a smaller scale. In agricultural research, for example, a researcher conducts an experiment on rice virtually identical to the experiment somebody else had conducted on wheat. And instead of describing the methods in his or her own words, the rice researcher simply copies the relevant section from the paper on wheat and pastes it into the paper being written on rice. That too is plagiarism, which is becoming increasingly easier to detect as research publishing becomes almost entirely digital. Following this brief explanation of what plagiarism is, essentially borrowing pieces of text published elsewhere and incorporating them into your article without any indication that you have done so. This short article mentions different types of plagiarism and offers some tips on how to avoid it in your work. Types of plagiarism. Plagiarism is not restricted to words alone. Inserting without attribution a diagram or even a photograph taken from elsewhere is plagiarism, as is using others' ideas or methods. What is unethical is not borrowing itself but borrowing without attribution or without acknowledgement. After all, science is essentially built bit by bit, by researchers who add to or advance the work of their peers, both present and past. Plagiarism can be categorized by source, and self-plagiarism is one such category. The degree of plagiarism. Verbatim plagiarism involves copying the original text word for word, whereas scattered or mosaic plagiarism refers to copying small pieces of text that occur throughout the body of a research paper. Type of content plagiarized: copying an image or any form of illustration, a table, an equation specifically developed by another researcher, etc. Intention or absence of it. Plagiarism is intentional when the person who commits it does it knowingly, or unintentional when the person is unaware of what constitutes plagiarism, and so on. It is not the precise type of plagiarism that matters. Different authorities have categorized it differently and into varying number of categories. Avoiding it is what is more important. Here are some ways to avoid plagiarism. Allow ample time for writing and revision. The most common reason why many academics resort to plagiarism is that it is quicker to copy and paste than generating fresh text. Writing is not only hard but also slow. Remember that many journals routinely check every new manuscript for plagiarism, and if yours is rejected on that ground, you have lost valuable time. Make every effort to use your own words when making notes and refer to those notes rather than the original as you write your first draft. After all, you can always turn later to the saved original for cross-checking. Use quotation marks and give the source. Perhaps the easiest way to avoid plagiarism is to make it clear that the block of text is not what you wrote but is a direct quotation. And that is why you have not only provided a citation but also enclosed it within quotation marks. For example, read complicated texts, especially PhD theses produced at UK universities. They are likely to be written in good academic English, Anna 2021. When you do this, ensure that the extract is reproduced exactly, word for word. Also, check that the original punctuation, italics if any, and spelling are retained. Paraphrase the original text in your words and cite the source. Remember that rephrasing somebody else's idea with proper attribution is not plagiarism. However, you need to express the idea in your words. Do not keep the original in front of you as you write, because it will make it difficult for you to think of alternative words and alternative ways of constructing sentences. Using your words is not easy, which is why you need to read widely, going beyond technical journals and textbooks. Most important, ensure that the sense of the original is not distorted while paraphrasing. Read widely on many topics and read good writers. Make a conscious attempt to increase your vocabulary by reading on a variety of topics. Read books written by authors known for the quality of their writing, which will help you absorb a variety of sentence constructions. That variety and a richer vocabulary will help you paraphrase easily and effectively. The time you spend on reading is not wasted, it is good investment that will pay dividends later. Record the bibliographic details of sources accurately. Citing a source is a simple way to avoid plagiarism, but you must have the correct details of each source that you cite. Although tracing original papers is a lot easier now, it is also easier to make mistakes while copying or transcribing. Always cross-check all the citations and references. Conduct a plagiarism check on your manuscript. If you are not very confident of your ability to write or paraphrase sentences effectively, you could seek plagiarism check services. These will help you determine if your manuscript has any sections that will be considered plagiarized and thus take appropriate and timely action. For example, Editor's scientific editing service, which is designed to offer high-quality language and developmental editing, includes additional benefits such as unlimited rounds of plagiarism check for 12 months. Plagiarism is unethical and can jeopardize your research career. Do not be tempted to take shortcuts. Due diligence will pay you in the long run. Use ChatGPT as a writing aid. Don't consider ChatGPT or any AI tool as an all-in-one content generator. Instead, consider ChatGPT as a helpful writing aid that assists in critical thinking and creativity. Utilize the AI's suggestions and prompts to enhance your writing. Along with that, ensure to incorporate your unique perspective, voice, and analysis. Remember that the responsibility for the final content rests with you. Cite and attribute sources properly. When combining information or ideas from external sources, ensure that you cite and attribute them correctly. ChatGPT might generate text that resembles published material, so it's essential to acknowledge the original authors. Use proper citation styles based on the type of information. Verify and cross-check information. AI tools can provide quick and convenient access to vast amounts of information. However, it's crucial to verify the accuracy and reliability of the data before using it in your work. Double-check the facts, statistics, and claims generated by ChatGPT by consulting reputable sources independently. Develop your research skills. Enhance your research skills to gather information from diverse sources, including ChatGPT and AI tools, so that you can critically evaluate their credibility. This will help you provide accurate and original content while reducing the risk of inadvertently plagiarizing existing material. Effective research ensures that you have a solid understanding of the topic, allowing you to contribute authentically to the conversation. Edit and revise your work. This is the most crucial step to avoid plagiarism with any AI tool. After using ChatGPT or any AI tool, thoroughly review and edit the generated content to ensure it aligns with your original intent and style. Make necessary revisions, rephrase sentences, and add personal insights to avoid any unintentional similarities with existing text. The more input you provide from your end, the more unique the content becomes. Utilize plagiarism detection tools. Let's say you have successfully done all the above steps. There is a good chance that the written content still has some plagiarism. For this, leverage plagiarism detection tools to check your work for any instances of unintentional plagiarism. These tools can compare your writing against a vast database of existing content to identify potential matches. Popular plagiarism checkers include Copyscape, Grammarly, Turnitin, etc. I have mentioned some plagiarism tools in the later part of the content. Use plagiarism checkers. You can use various plagiarism detection tools such as Authenticate or HelioBlast, formerly ETBLAST, to see how much of your paper is plagiarized. Tip: while it is perfectly fine to survey previously published work, it is not all right to paraphrase the same with extensive similarity. Most of the plagiarism occurs in the literature review section of any document, manuscript, thesis, etc. Therefore, if you read the original work carefully, try to understand the context, take good notes, and then express it to your target audience in your own language, without forgetting to cite the original source, then you will never be accused with plagiarism, at least for the literature review section. Seek human feedback. When in doubt about the originality or appropriateness of your work, seek feedback from peers, instructors, or professionals. They can provide valuable insights, identify any potential issues, and guide you toward maintaining integrity in your writing. Stay informed about AI ethics. Stay up to date with the latest discussions and advancements in AI ethics. Understanding the ethical implications of AI usage, including the potential for unintentional plagiarism, will help you make informed decisions and use AI tools responsibly. Developing original ideas. A light bulb having an idea on a thought bubble. Citing sources correctly and developing your own distinct ideas are vital to any successful writing. Self-plagiarism, which is using one's own work elsewhere without permission, should be avoided as well. If I write an article for Fast Company, I cannot replicate that article word for word on the Vengreso blog. That would be self-plagiarism. I can certainly quote the article and write my original content, but I must make sure to cite it appropriately. Critical thinking and analysis. By utilizing critical thinking and analytical skills, one can effectively generate fresh and innovative viewpoints by distinguishing between conventional knowledge and individual ideas, while also properly acknowledging other authors' works to avoid plagiarism. And better yet, by engaging in critical thinking and analysis, you can sharpen your writing skills. The process entails actively understanding, examining, combining and evaluating available data to arrive at a reasoned conclusion or form an opinion on any subject. By expressing one's own ideas through writing, not only does it enhance credibility, but it also guarantees that personal beliefs are developed through evidence rather than mindlessly echoing others. By utilizing this approach when developing content, it is possible to create unique perspectives backed up by sound reasoning which will improve overall output significantly. Distinguishing your own ideas from sources. A looking glass looking into puzzle pieces with an iCloud icon on it. It is important to distinguish your own personal opinions from those of others and sources to avoid plagiarism and ensure proper acknowledgement. Your own thoughts are completely original, while others' ideas and resources come from the outside environment that you use for backing up your perspectives. Your opinions are your own, but sometimes we share common knowledge and without even realizing we are not using our own words. When bringing together external materials into what you have created, be sure to include quote marks as well as both in-text citations and reference lists so that all relevant authors can receive acknowledgement for their works. Recognizing the distinction between your own ideas and those of others is crucial for upholding ethical standards in writing, as it ensures that there is no plagiarism or unauthorized use of information. While they say there is nothing new in this world, if you know or suspect you are sharing others' ideas, do your research. Utilizing a plagiarism checker. These checkers are powerful tools designed to detect and prevent any unwarranted cases of plagiarism in your own words and material. These software programs scan text for duplicated content or language, such as paraphrased lines or similar phrasing. Utilizing a plagiarism checker guarantees that your writing is fresh and properly credited, so you stay within the ethical standards of scholarly work. In order to benefit from using these solutions, we should discuss how they operate as well as what their advantages are when it comes to preserving originality while avoiding unethical behavior associated with improper citation techniques. A dice with a red X next to a dice with a green checkmark. How plagiarism checkers work. These checkers use advanced software to search for similarities between the tested text and existing texts, including someone else's work. The performance of a plagiarism detector is based on its underlying algorithm and database size. Benefits of using plagiarism checkers. The usage of plagiarism detectors can offer various advantages, including more assurance in the originality of your work and following scholastic uprightness principles. It is also a helpful educational instrument to understand how exactly one should reference sources and abstain from plagiarism when creating future writings. Popular plagiarism detection tools. Currently, there are different tools to identify plagiarism in written content. Here are some commonly used tools. Turnitin.com. Every university has a campus-wide license to Turnitin.com. Faculty may turn in student papers electronically, where the text can be compared with a vast database of other student papers, online articles, general web pages, and other sources. Turnitin.com then produces a report for the instructor indicating whether the paper was plagiarized and if so, how much. For more information, go to Turnitin.com. Copyscape. The most popular and reliable plagiarism detection tool is Copyscape. It is a widely used online plagiarism checker that allows you to check the originality of your content by comparing it to web pages across the internet. It can help identify whether specific text has been copied from other online sources. It works as pay-as-you-go. So, you can affordably check all your content. Grammarly. While Grammarly is primarily known as a grammatical error-finding tool, it also includes a plagiarism checker feature. Grammarly scans text against a large database of web pages and documents to flag any potential instances of plagiarism. Plagiarism. Plagiarism is a comprehensive plagiarism detection tool used by educators, businesses, and content creators. It checks documents against a large database of sources, including academic journals, websites, and publications, and provides detailed reports highlighting potential instances of plagiarism. DupliChecker. DupliChecker is a free online plagiarism checker that scans text for similarities across the web. It allows users to compare their content with various sources and provides a percentage of similarity along with highlighted text sections. However, you will find some other tools as well. In some AI tools, you will get plagiarism detection features as well. Wrap up. In conclusion, to avoid plagiarism while using ChatGPT and AI tools, it is crucial to understand plagiarism and apply the techniques to make the content unique. After using all your techniques, try to use plagiarism detection tools like Copyscape to make it better.